איפה לומדים את זה ואיך ולאיזה תעסוקה זה יכול להוביל.
Hey, catch the Torah wave, everybody. Welcome to our Sunday Genesis class live from Jerusalem with Rabbi Chaim Goldberg. And for those of you tuning in on Noahide World Center social media, today is Rabbi Goldberg's birthday. So I was going to ask my friend Angelica lead us in a happy birthday for Rabbi Goldberg.
You surprised me.
Okay, that sounds good. So all of us here, we're gonna sing him happy birthday today. So here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Rabbi Goldberg. Happy birthday to you. Blessings, Rabbi. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you very much. You surprised me. Very nice. Thank you very much. The day that someone is in this world is the day that God said that the world won't be able to stay here without you. So it's a very blessing day. And thank you very much for all of you for this nice surprise. And we can start learning now, right? I'm embarrassed, It wasn't in my schedule to do that. But today you can't hide those points, especially that everything is being very clear on the Facebook, on the YouTube, on whatever it is, on the Instagram, or whatever it is. Okay, you can't hide it. So good evening, everybody from Jerusalem. I want to. Last week I was in a wedding or something, so I didn't have the possibility to give the exact, I will say, exact everything that I have to say.
Yeah, it was too broken up, unfortunately, yes.
And it was also broken. So I want now to learn something from the Bible. Now, I'm apologizing from Bart that he already heard some of those things, but it's important. So I think that now we're also recording it to the rest of the world. People will be able also to listen to that after that. And it's very important for me to show in a bit more profound way, and also it's related to the Bible. We're going to learn the Bible. Exactly, I will try to define in a much more moral point of the war that we see today between Russia and Ukraine, especially that this war is between, I will say, the modern West world against the East world of what's happening here. So it's important for me to show this a bit and to understand what exactly is happening. Now, something here must be clear, okay, before we starting. And I will mention this a few times along the things that we're going to learn. I'm going to show here interesting point of view from the Russian side, from the Ukraine side, okay? But it's not that I think that it's good that there is a war. I don't think it's good that there is war. I think that it's a big tragedy to a lot of people, especially to the women's side and to the children's side. A lot of people are getting dying from this war. Also I don't know if you know, but there are a few things that we need to say, okay? About the Russian groups also going with how do you call it, crematorium? They're burning the deads, so they won't need to bring them back to Russia and to hide the things that they're doing. It's awful things that's happening in this war. On the other side, we need to realize that there is a very big war here between cultures that is just popping up, like a popcorn on this specific situation. So let's dive inside and let's learn it a bit. and I'm going to we're going to see this. Let me share the screen. We're going to start with Leviticus, what we call Vayikra. Okay, we're starting Vayikra this week. We finished Exodus and we're starting Vayikra, and we're going to start in chapter 18. We're going to learn something. It's a very important chapter, and it starts in the first five verses. It's
Shall I read it, Rabbi?
What's happening? Yes, here it is. First five verses, you can say, first 6 verses, you can start to read. Yes, please.
All right. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, I am the Lord your God. Like the practice of the land of Egypt in which you dwelled, you shall not do. And like the practice of the land of Canaan, to which I am bringing you, you shall not do. And you shall not follow their statutes. You shall fulfill my ordinances and observe my statutes to follow them. I am the Lord your God. You shall observe my statutes and my ordinances, which a man shall do and live by them. I am the Lord. No man shall come near. Okay. Stop there.
No. Read the verse number 5 also. 6 also.
6. No man shall come near to any of his close relatives to uncover their nakedness. I am the Lord.
So it's stating here something very important, that you're not allowed to behave under the footsteps of the Egyptian people that we went out from there, and also not from the Canaan people that we are going there. And how did they behave? Then this is continuing on, okay? The list is going on and going on and going on. How to behave in a sexual moral behavior. Okay, you're not allowed to do a sexual relationship with your mother, with your father's wife. It's continuing on, with your daughter, with your granddaughter, or whatever it is.
Relatives.
All the relatives that you're supposed to be very far from them and not to do any sexual relationship with them, because this was the behavior of the Egyptian people. This was also the behavior of the Canaan people. And as it says here in the continuous, of this thing, read also verse number 22, please.
22, you shall not lay down with a male as with a woman. This is an abomination.
Fine. So, we're speaking about the sexual immorality behavior. And now let's look for a moment in verses 24, 25. Please read them.
24, you shall not defile yourselves by any of these things, for the nations whom I am sending away from before you have defiled themselves with all these things. And the land became defiled, and I visited its sin upon it, and the land vomited out its inhabitants.
It's amazing how the scripture, how the Bible is explaining it. It's like the land vomited those people outside. This is why you're not allowed to do those things. So we hear here, one of the most important things that you're not allowed to do is all of this immoral sexual relationship. It could be in the inappropriate relationship with people that are very close to you, or even when you're speaking about, for example, the homosexual relationship that are not appropriate. Fine. Now, I want to show for a moment what is the biggest, I will call it, punishment that the Bible is giving. One is it's saying that the nation is being exiled, vomited from this land. But let's look for a moment what will happen for a person who is going to behave in an inappropriate way. And this is the biggest or the highest punishment that the Bible is giving. So let's look for a moment. Please read verse number 29. So the most highest, biggest punishment that we can see in the Bible, I could have started a bit differently, but this is what is written down here, that it's called, in Hebrew, it's called karet. Karet, that what will happen to you? You're going to be outside from your nation. Listen good. You're going to be outside from your nation. You're going to be thrown out from your nation. So we see here that the Bible is approaching, I will say it like that, approaching the situation of the nation as the most important thing. And the biggest punishment is to say to one of the people of the nation, go outside. You're not part of this nation anymore. It's a bit different than the modern world in the last 250 years, since we came to a situation that there is also a lot of secularity, okay, without believing in God, where the individual in the modern world, in the west side of the world, in Europe, in the United States, the individual is very important. The individual is the most highest level of things that we can do. Leave everyone to do what he wants to do. They can live however they want to live. No one should interfere them. No war anymore. With all of the respect with what's happening in Ukraine and in Russia, we're not going to send soldiers. No one wants to die. Everyone for himself. Everyone for himself. We're not thinking too much about the nation side. It's the opposite way. Starting to realize what's happening here. In the Bible time, when we had the prophecy, the most important side of the human was to belong to the community, to the nation. And if you were thrown out from the nation, this was a very big punishment. Today, in the last 250, 300 years, we are not raising up too much the understanding that the nation is the most important thing. The most important thing is whatever I want to do with myself, don't bother me, I won't bother you, that's it. Now, I'm not saying it's not good to be on this side, but we have today, and now we're starting to speak about what's happening here. We have today a very big clash between two nations there, but it's not between two nations. It's between the modern world of I will call it, it's Europe, the United States. Ukraine wants to go there. Ukraine who moved aside from Russia, where they're saying, we're speaking about the individual. On the other side, we have China, yes, the Chinese government, and also the Russian government. Those two are putting the spotlight or the main highlight is on the nation. They don't really care about their individuals too much. It's not that they want that all of them will die, but they don't care for them. The most horrible side of this nation thing that they're representing is that the communist community until the 19th, till the Berlin Wall fell down.
The wall came down in 87.
So until those days, they really demolished every person out there that managed to raise up his head. They cut his head off.
No individuality.
So, at all. So this was, the most horrible side. On the other side, we can't ignore that they are representing those two countries, big countries, huge countries, not only in area, but also with people. They are representing something that is saying, no, the
nation.
Not the individual. The nation is more important than the individual. The individual needs to bow himself down in front of the nation. And this is the main clash that we see here today. On one side, the Ukraine side, the Ukraine people decided to move aside Russia and to be by themselves, independent by themselves. Russia never accepted it. Not only in the Donetsk side and the places where they're fighting all the time. Russia didn't accept this. In Russia, let's be very honest, on this story. The story is very more complicated than what the media is trying to show us. The Ukraine government, for example, in the last 8 years, are doing everything that they can do to go to be part of NATO, the NATO side. And they're doing it even though Russia told them more than once, don't do that. You can live by yourself, but don't be part of the NATO side, because NATO is all the time demolishing us, and they want to destroy us. Now, I don't know if NATO wants to destroy Russia, but on the other side, to do those things, and more than that, there are two very big part of the state of Ukraine that never felt part of Ukraine. They are feeling more part of Russia. And this is where it started everything, okay? Where Putin said, this is part of the Russia and we're going to capture it back. Donetsk, I think is the name of one of them. You know, those are very big places. In the last 8 years, there's a very big fight there between Ukraine and the people there. And they're killing one each other in a very, you know, without any consideration of anything. They're just killing one each other very much. By the way, the Ukraine on the other side, that they don't agree with those people who want to be part of Russia. They're all the time saying to us, how come we occupied the people in Palestine, okay? So they're doing also hypocrite things. It's a very complicated story here. The main thing here is that we have two big ideas. The one that is raising up the individual, and the one that is raising up very much the nation side, and they are clashing one with each other on the land of Ukraine. On the other side, each one of them is coming, is representing a very interesting ideology. The Hebrew nation, for example, on the other side, it's true that it says here, when we had the prophecy that the most highest punishment is to be removed from your nation. But in the Hebrew tradition, we have a very much relationship between the nation side and the personal side. It's called in Hebrew, klal hatzarich leprat, v'prat hatzarich leklal. I will say it again and I will explain it, okay? We have the nation side, the klal, nation side, and we have the prat, the individual side. And we say all the time that you need one each other. You know that the Hebrew tradition, and we explained this more than once, have few different ideas or different way to think of things. Okay, for example, repentance. Repentance in the Hebrew tradition, you can travel in time. You can go backwards with the things that you did, and to restore, to repair bad things that you did. This is repentance, something that is not clear in the modern, in the logic, in the normal logic of person. There's an explanation for that. We explained this more than once. Fine, never mind now. Okay, there's also the creation. Creation is also something that the logic doesn't understand that, but we explained it. We explained it more than once, how exactly we're thinking about this. One of the things that also we're saying all the time, that you need to have those two sides, the national side, and the personal side. For example, if someone stole money from someone else, so he is being for a training time, at least 6 years, he is being a servant of someone else, of the master. But after 6 years, he must take him out. And if he wants very much to stay there, so still he have, you know, after 50 years, I won't go inside exactly to all the calculations. After a few years after that, he must go outside. He can't be all of his life servant for someone else, like in other places in the world. Because all the time, the Hebrew tradition is, I will say, balancing between the national side and the individual side. Today, this is the main clash. Now, why the clash came? Because there is, in one way of understanding that the modern world finished or came to the highest level of things that he can do, and he came to the top, okay? He came to the top. But I want to show something, one more thing, okay, with this issue. Here we spoke about a immoral relationship, okay, that is bringing a lot of things. Let's go for a moment to Genesis chapter 6, Who remember what we have in Genesis chapter 6? Okay, we have
Noah.
it's very known. Exactly. But it starts here. Let's read for a moment verses 1, 2, and 3.
And it came to pass when man commenced to multiply upon the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of the nobles saw the daughters of man when they were beautifying themselves, and they took for themselves wives from whomever they chose. And the Lord said, Let my spirit not quarrel forever concerning man, because he is also flesh, and his days shall be 120 years.
So, no, we need to read another one more verse at least. Just a moment. Look on verse number 5. Please read verse number 5.
5. And the Lord saw that the evil of man was great in the earth, and every imagination of his heart was only evil all the time.
I said it already once, also today, but more than once. God is not a journalist. When God is describing something, it's the truth. Okay, a journalist likes a lot of time to exaggerate, to say things that, half true and more than that. I'll say it like that. God, when God is saying something so hard, to think about, that the evil of man was great, and every imagination of his heart was only evil. You think here about this, saying to yourself, just a moment, this is what happened there? Yes, this is what happened there. And how it started with capturing the girls. Immoral sexuality, something there is not 100%, fine. Let's continue on a bit. We know that Noah was God find the favor of the eyes of the Noah, in the eyes of the God, Noah. And then we have, let's read for a moment 11, 12, and 13.
11. Now the earth was corrupt before Hashem, and the earth became full of robbery. And God saw the earth, and behold, it had become corrupted, for all flesh had corrupted its way on the earth. And Hashem said to Noah, The end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth has become full of robbery because of them. And behold, I am destroying them from the earth.
Now we see here something amazing. When you read it, you see that there is a lot of robbery there, right? But before we saw that there's also something with the sexual morality. So let's read for a moment Rashi, okay, on verse 11. Just a moment. Let me open Rashi here. Let's show Rashi. It is. Now let's go back to verse number 11. No, not 11. Just a moment.
Was
sorry.
Corrupt or
verse,
was...
No, verse number 13. Sorry. And God said to Noah, the end of all flesh, right?
Right. The end of all flesh. Wherever you find promiscuity and idolatry, a pestilence comes upon the world and kills both good and bad alike. From Genesis,
enough. When you find, whatever you find,
promiscuity.
What is it? What is this? Okay. We're speaking about immoral behavior.
Licentious.
When you have immoral behavior, you did such a big disorder in this world. So everything is with a lot of andalamus, it's called. Okay, a lot of disorder. And the disorder is also, when I think it was 2004 or 2005, there was a very big wave that came and killed something like 270,000 people in 10 minutes. It was in India area. Remember that? It's called the...
yeah.
How do you call it again?
It's called a tsunami.
The tsunami, yes. The tsunami came, okay? Now, I can promise you, you know what? I'm sure for 100%. In those 270,000 people, there were a few people that were very good people. For sure.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt.
Without any doubt, okay? But there are times, okay, where God is saying, now, that's it. We closing here. This area we're closing for I don't know why, okay? Now, here, God, the sages are saying to us, You remember what we saw in chapter 18 in Leviticus? We saw that. It's speaking about immoral behavior, sexual behavior, immoral sexual behavior, right? This is what it spoke about. And what's happening is that God is killing both good and bad alike. I'm speaking here about another level. So if we spoke before that there is a big battle between two main parts of the world, is the national is more important or the individual is more important, and you see how the individual is so important for those people that Biden will say, we will never send troops there because we don't want to get killed. No? And Russia and China understand that today the modern world is a bit weak, I will call it like that, because of all of the progressive side. But it's also related with the immoral sexual behavior, that when this is coming, so we're starting to see a lot of hard things in the world. Now, I don't know how it's going to continue. I'm not sure that it will finish here. If you're asking me, but it's in a personal understanding, I have no inside things. I'm not in the head of Bennett or something else. But everything is showing here, okay, that the West world gave up Ukraine. They're already saying to Vladimir Zelensky, go out as an exile government outside from Ukraine. Ukraine is already from just stop this war, okay? And we don't know how it's going to continue. It could become also a big world war again, okay, between China and Russia and maybe even, what's the name, the Iran side, okay, with the rest of the world. It also could be like that for a few years. I don't know. We really don't know. Hopefully it won't happen to come to this level. But what we see here is in two levels. One is the big fight between the individual and the nationality. And the second thing is that when we're coming to a situation where you can find so many hard things that is related with the immoral sexual behavior, there is such a big wondering here that God is basically killing, I don't know how to say it, okay? I'm not sure that the exact word, it's in Hebrew, it says nothing in Hebrew. Yes, it's andarlemusia. Andarlemusia is a very big, you know what, destruction is a good word for that, okay? A very big disorder. But who organized this disorder? When we are allowing, as governments, okay, we are allowing to men and men to live together as part of a family, okay? And we are allowing them to do a lot of things. We are putting the disorder in this world. It's just a reflection of our behavior. I know that I'm saying unpopular things.
And there's repercussions, sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's sad when people imagine there's no repercussions for their actions.
I'm saying again, I know that I'm not saying the most popular things here. On the other side, we must stand for a moment, open our eyes, and see what is happening in front of us. And not to say to ourselves, well, that's it. Now, what will be, listen good. Again, I'm very careful with my words tonight, but I'm saying exact things. What exactly is the mission of the Messiah? Or what exactly is being expected from the Hebrew nation? We came back to our homeland. What exactly is our mission? To be the United States country number 52 after the moon? This is not our mission. If this is our mission, so let's move to the United States and build short place. We came back to our homeland, and this is what it's written down about the Messiah, that he's going to judge the countries. This is Messiah. So we all know I think that people who are sitting here, most of the people who are sitting here know that once upon a time, when we had the pictures that we took. It was with the camera and with the film. Remember that? Remember the film? The negative side, remember that? There was a negative. You remember the negative? You can look on the negative and you saw the picture in a way that if you put it on the right paper, it will become a picture. If you won't put it on the right paper, it will become only the negative of the paper. I think that what we see today, that everybody is asking, what is the moral stand of the Hebrew nation? Zelensky is asking it. Putin is asking it. Biden is asking it. Everybody's asking, what is the moral stand? Where do we stand? Now, thank God I'm not the Prime Minister of Israel. Thank God. You know, it's a very hard situation to decide exactly where we're standing. On the other side, it's very hard because, as I said before, we do believe that there's some sort of a combination between the individual on one side and the rights of the individual, and on the other side, the nationality side. We have both things. By the way, we have another level, and the next level is the humanity of all over the world. This is what we're doing now. All of us from all over the world, we're sitting together because we in the Hebrew nation, we're also the humanity of all of the world. And we have another level that is speaking about everything in this world. Okay, for example, you're not allowed to destroy trees just for your hobby. You need to have good reason if you're trying to destroy a tree or something like that, because also God also created the trees. So we have 4 levels. We have the individual level, the national level, the humankind level, and the world level. I will call it like that. Okay, fair enough. So it's a bit hard for us to say, no, they are right, fine. So it's a bit, we're a bit mumbling. But what's happening now is instead of us saying, listen, if Holland, Netherlands, okay, and Brussels, Brussels, if Holland and Brussels, for example, can say that they're building up a court for the nations, right? We have the court of the nation in Brussels, I think. It's in Brussels, right? The court of the nation. I think that we can be here the most graduate person, national in the world, okay? We have only almost 4,000 years behind us. I was born 4,000 years ago. I have a birthday today. I was born 4,000 years ago. Fine, fair enough. Okay, so we can say there's a court here. Come here to Israel, to Jerusalem, and we will judge you, and we will say who is right, who is wrong. So we are in the negative side. Okay, it's not that the Prime Minister of Israel is standing here in Jerusalem and saying, "Come here, and we will judge you." At this point of time, he still is running between all the places. Fair enough. But another, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, this is what will happen. The court judge of the nations will move from Brussels, from Europe to Jerusalem. The Messiah will sit here, and people will come when they will have questions, answers, problems, whatever it is, and he will judge between nations. This is what's written down, by the way. When 1,000 years ago, they had all the debates between the Hebrew sages and all the priests from the Christian world, and the priests of the Christian world said, the Messiah already came. So our sages answered, but we don't have any more wars? Do we have someone that is judging the nations? We don't have those things. This is how they won, by the way, all the arguments that we have. So we need to realize that this is where it's going. It's not a mistake that the Hebrew nation today is in a state where people are trying to understand what we have to say, and maybe they are using us. Now, I don't know, again, I don't know. We don't know yet the end of this story. We don't know if it's finished yet. We don't know what's happening exactly, everything else. And we're not inside the room of all of the discussion that's happening behind the scenes. Maybe everything will be fine in another few days. Maybe it will be more wars. Maybe it will be, a few days. I don't know. We don't know. Maybe, by the way, the Second World War, it started in one day, and it had a very long everything stopped. And after 3 years, it began again, with a big thing. So we don't know exactly how things are going to go in the future. Okay, but I do understand, or what I see here is some sort of the negative of the picture, of the full picture. The full picture will be that there will be a judge court in Israel, in Jerusalem. And we see today already that the Israel nation is getting some sort of a high level rank of situation where everybody wants, this is the only people today that can start to speak with everybody, and everybody is speaking with them. Again, I think that personally, on the personal level, I'm really with a lot of debate inside. I think that our prime minister is a bit young and doesn't have the experience, and Putin is a bit playing with him like in a chessmate, you know? He's a bit playing, but again, we don't know. Maybe I will be, hopefully, I will be wrong. In another few days, we will see that everything is fine, and he was, you know, he really is a cool guy. Anything else? On a personal level, my father was a good friend of the prime minister father, okay? But the prime minister father, he passed away already something like 6, 7, 8 years ago, something like that. And my parents knows his mother today, you know, they were friends and everything else. Fair enough, but you know, I don't have any connection with him. He is not the issue. I think the main issue here is what is the direction that the history is going. And we see how the history is going straight on the way that is written down in the Bible a few thousand years ago. Now we're starting to realize what's happening here. Okay, questions till now. I think I said enough. Now it's a time that you can ask questions. Not for everything I have answers, but I gave here direction of things. Okay.
Yes, I have a question too. Maybe it's not a question, it's something what I'm seeing. When, I just want to mention this, when Putin was a small boy, he was very poor with his family. And when he was that poor, they had no food. A rabbi came by and said, do you want to come to my house and I will feed you? So the family went to his house. Putin knows about rabbis. He knows about peace. He knows, and he has nothing against them. This is the thing. So Israel is special to him. I find that when he remembers back on how his life was, if he at all does, even though he was taught something different, all the nations are going to come to Israel somehow. So I'm finding now Putin knows who helped him at time of need. He knows. So if a rabbi if he's accepting a rabbi to go to Israel to talk to him, that's huge. He even has his own rabbi who he talks to. So all this has, I think, big meaning, good or bad, I don't know either, but it reminds me of, okay, you know what? Hashem knows how he's doing these things. And if Israel is involved in any nation, there's so many Jewish people in any.
There may open opportunities for sure. Yeah.
Yes. And so the opportunity for every single nation is there, and it's coming more and more. And when rabbis are teaching from Israel, from Jerusalem, wherever, the nations, it's going to just have like I think a pop. All of a sudden, it's just going to be like,
yeah, we're all waiting for it for sure.
That's right. And so when that happens, it's like, we're going to know, like, it's like so good. So be happy.
First of all, I know about Putin and his relationship with the vice. True. Unfortunately, we can see now that on the other side, he is doing very hard things. I don't think that the Ukraine are very, very innocent people. You know, they also have their own problems. But you're right. I think that I will say it like that. I will try to express the words that you said in a different way, that it will give also a meaning of the history. Okay, I think that until the point that we didn't have a nation that stood up for themselves, okay, in Israel, A lot of people knew Jews from here and from there. You know what I will say? I will finish it and then I will say also a story about it. A lot of people knew the Jews from here and from there, but they said all the time that God left us. God left us. Now that we have a nation, and the nation is also, thank God, God is with us and we're strong and everything else. So people are starting to listen to us much more. I will tell you a story, okay? Russia never was only Russia in Moscow, okay? Russia started, from the beginning of Russia, it started in two places. It started in Kiev and in Moscow. And there are two stories about the beginning of Russia. And the story of the Kiev story is that there was a king there, his name was Vladimir. A king 300 years ago, Vladimir in Kiev. And this Vladimir in Kiev, his wife was Christian. And he asked himself, what do I need to believe in? It's a true story. You can find it on the internet, okay? What do I need to believe? And he went and he spoke with a Muslim person, with a rabbi, and with a, it's reminding us a bit of the Kuzari story. By the way, the Kuzari is also in this area also. So he spoke with a Muslim person and he said, never mind, moved him aside. Then he spoke with the rabbi. And he asked the rabbi, the things that you're saying to me, the Muslim, by the way, he moved them aside because the Muslims told him that they are not allowed to drink wine. So he said to the Muslim guy, this won't work in my country. Go aside. This is a story. So he went to the Jewish people. So he said to the rabbi, what are you? So he explained to him a lot of things and everything else. So he said to him, so where is your capital? Where is your main country and the capital of this country? And the rabbi answered him, Jerusalem. So he said to him, so why are you not living there? And the answer of the rabbi was, because we are today in the exile, going outside. We went outside. God punished us. So the king, Vladimir said, okay, if God throw you out from your country, so God, you're not the right people. I will go with the Christian people like my wife. Now, someone needs to tell him that we came back to our homelands. And then maybe Vladimir, I don't know, Vladimir Zelensky, maybe Vladimir Putin, I don't know who, what Vladimir will realize that the Hebrew people have what to say here. Okay, both of them need to see it. And I think that this is what you're saying, basically. It's not good people and good rabbis and good, not only Hebrew people, but also other people, but also Hebrew people all over the world did a lot of good things. And we have a lot of stories about this. The thing is that people today are listening because we also have a country. Therefore, God is not punishing us anymore. We are part of it. And this is where people are starting to listen more to what we have to say. So it's working together. It's not one-way situation.
Well, hopefully as we grow, the voice gets louder.
I agree with you also. Yes, Travis, yes.
Yes. I've studied a lot with the Chabad, and I know that there's a dual judgment, all right? One for community and one for individual actions. And that seems what we're talking about today. And what my question is this the communal, the national judgment in the flesh, so that we proceed to the individual judgment in the spiritual realm when the time comes? Or is it going to be also a communal judgment in the spiritual realm? This is a new way to look at it for me. It's an eye-opening, it's a very exciting way to look at it, to tell you the truth, because I've studied all of the different Abrahamic faiths pretty deep, and I kind of get them mixed up sometimes. But this teaching here really opens my eyes to, it appears to me like to be a communal judgment of each individual nation.
So I will answer you for that. Okay, we have one of the, that we have here, all the Babylon Talmud, okay, that we have here, everything here. So one of it's up there. can see it more like that. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. One of the books that we have, it's 20 parts, this big book of the Babylon Talmud. One of them is all the halachot, all the way how to behave, and that is related with idolatry. And it starts with a story. The story is saying like that at the end of the days, all of the nations will come mixed up in front of God and will say to God, we want to get the prize for the worship that we worked for you, that we worshiped you, God. And God is answering, don't come to me, all of you mixed up together. Come to me nation by nation. And then we have example of two nations that our sages are saying already 600 years ago, okay? That it will be the Christian and the Muslims. And it's continuing on, okay? What exactly is the discussions there and everything else. But I want to stop for a moment in the beginning of the story. The beginning of the story is everybody's coming in a mixture, big mixture of all of us, of all of the people together. And God is saying, no. Come to me nation by nation, nation by nation. And basically, this is exactly what he's saying. At the beginning of the internet time, there is no boundaries. Everybody is together. Now, we're also coming back a bit to nations by nations. And as you said also, there is the individual who is being judged by God. There's also the nations who is being judged by God.
Yes.
It's not only, again, in the Hebrew tradition,
case, yeah.
In the Hebrew tradition, we have all the time those two things being balanced, the individual on one side and the nation on the other side. It's not, you can't be only an individual, tear off from everything, and you can't be a nation without relating for the individual.
Yeah.
So as the governments of the world are preaching and forcing diversity upon the world, that's a blending that you're saying that that our nations are forcing us to blend, and we're not supposed to. A nation is supposed to be a nation, right?
We're supposed to be nations on one side. On the other side, we're supposed to be, and I think we spoke about this also,
this
it's
brings us
written
back to
down
the
that
heritage,
the nation will become families. And
Right.
family doesn't fight with the main core of family is not fighting against other family.
Mhm.
Nation usually fights against other nations. So we want to move back to families, and then we will be more together. On one side, we can take down a lot of boundaries. It will be okay. On the other side, we will still be, the German family is not the same as the Turkish family. It's not the same as the American family. It's not the same as the England family, okay? In England, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you must drink tea, green tea, right? Excellent, okay? In Turkish, you must drink coffee, black coffee, at 5 o'clock, not in 4.
And we do maple syrup up here.
Okay. In Canada, till today, I'm buying the maple syrup in Canada from Canada, here in my store. So there is also, let's not forget, each one of us have these. It's also related to the place where we're growing up and the weather in each place. It's like the trees outside. Okay, we have the trees here. Okay, you can't plant a pineapple tree. Okay, everywhere in the world. It's only in the
they won't grow up here. That's for sure.
Exactly. Okay, and the same thing. People are a bit different, and this is the uniqueness of God to give this glory of also so many,
diversity.
people around, and we need to work together. Yes.
And it goes back to the heritage, like the Israelite heritage. You have a heritage that has never fallen away. Everybody around the world, we don't know our heritage. We don't know what really drives us deep down, because we have been blended so much and forced into this diverse blending.
But yes, there are a few ways how to find it out and how to organize it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean,
there are a few things how to do that.
Right.
Yeah, and to organize it today for that it will be related to those days and what's happening here.
Thank you very much for your answer. It's wonderful.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Okay, yes. Italo, yeah, long
Hey,
time, no question. Yes.
yes. I wanted to know what is the feeling in Israel? You said about the prime minister, you don't know where he is. What about the people, the nation? What are they saying? Today we have something we didn't have before. Like today we have TikToks and all that stuff that it's bringing information, real life, what's going on. You know, the
Yes, but it's on.
civilian casualties, attack bombardments, and all that.
Let me surprise you all, okay? 70% of the Russian people agree with Putin. Again, I will say this number. It's true. It's a true number. 70% of the Russian people think that Putin is doing the right thing. 70% is not 1%. It's not 51%. 70% of the people of Russia think that it's good what Russia is doing to Ukraine, and this is what they were supposed to do. Why I'm saying this? Because I think that the media today is a bit lying. It's not really showing us what is happening. Unfortunately, in the last 20 years, okay, the media became part of the game.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, the same with the judge people. Okay, in a lot of countries, it's not being people are not. It's not being. You can't decide who is going to be the judge. It's a closed situation. Therefore, it's also very hard in Israel to know exactly what people think. A lot of people are feeling very hard for the suffering of the Ukraine country and people. And it's true. Think about this. A million people. I've heard last Thursday night, we have a very big event that we're doing usually with a few hundred people every Thursday night. And at the end, it's around 10:30 at night, and I'm driving back home. And I've heard a very interesting podcast. The same word in English, right? The podcast it was a very hard one, and I didn't sleep at night. One of the things that I've heard there was about a girl, 26 years old, that took her two cats. Where's your cat, Angela? I'm missing it tonight. That took her two cats, and in the car also she took 3 Jewish people. Okay, the Chabad people, they organized everything, and she ran away. And they helped her, the Hebrew people. They helped her with German people, and now she is being a refugee in Germany. And she's only 26 years old. Why it was very hard for me? I have 2 daughters. Okay, one is 27, one is 28 years old, and the other one is 27 years old. And I was thinking to myself, both of them, thank God, was married and everything else. And I was thinking to myself, my girls in this age, to go in a car, to drive for 5 days, to be a refugee in a place where you don't know if you will ever see your parents again and everything else, it's really a very hard situation. A war is not a nice place, not a nice place in this world to be in a war, okay? And you're speaking about almost 1 million refugees, and you're speaking about something like another 20 million, so half of them are boys, okay? So you're speaking about only 7 million people inside Ukraine that are being bombed and being without any water, without any electricity, without any. Think about this for a moment. It's really hard. Saying to yourself, why? Why? How come Putin and his nation are behaving in this way? I explained tonight, a bit of what is happening here in a big way of looking at this, in a large way. But on the other side, it's very hard. So exactly how the people of Israel are feeling, they want very much that it will stop. They're feeling very hard for this hard story that they see in front of them. They don't really like it. The politics are trying very much to stand in between the lines, not on this side, not on this side. And
straddle the fence, yeah.
Yes, on the fence. It's not really working too much, fair enough. and the media is trying to show how much Putin is a monster. But again, the media is telling us that 70% of the Russian people agree with Putin. The media is not saying that. But if you know a few Russian people in the country, you will hear it from all of them. So you're saying to yourself, you know, the media is lying. It's not saying the truth. The media is playing. And the media is very much with the progressive side as the individual. I think that we all know that. So the media is trying to show how much Putin is wrong, instead of trying to show the exact situation that we have.
Yeah,
And
they're trying to control the
is very
narrative.
hard.
Sure. That's such a tactic today in this day and age. The media is used as such a, yeah.
But, you know, what's his name? Not the prime minister. Donald Trump. Okay, in a characteristic way, he all the time says that it's a fake news. I think that what he wanted mainly to say, look on this in the right eyes. Okay, the media is not when we were young. Okay, I'm speaking about 40 years ago, 60 years ago, when we were young. So we knew that the media is trying to show us what is happening in both sides. Today, the media have a narrative, and it's trying to put the narrative of the media inside your eyes. This is why you need to have the CNN on one side and the Fox News on the other side. If you will listen only to one of them, you know that you're going on one line. I'm right? I see Angela saying that I'm right. I know. This is how it's working.
I turned it off.
I have friends that looking all the time and only on the Fox News, and I have other friends who are looking all the time only on the CNN News. And I'm saying to both of them, you know, try to flip a bit.
My mother is a CNN only person, and I just turned it off, so I just don't discuss it anymore. You can't be in the media and believe you're getting the truth anywhere.
We have the BBC.
And if you listen only to one of them, you'll say, yeah, sorry, Mike. Sorry, you wanted to say something.
I said, we have the BBC for that, and I'm afraid they are extremely, as you say, biased to one side. And then we have the Sky News, which is biased to the other side. So you have to watch both and extrapolate to a central course. One doesn't know. If it doesn't make a headline and it doesn't make you click, then they don't make money. And that's what the world is now for.
It's true.
What are we supposed to do? If we see that they're bombarding civilians, should okay, let's say I'm living in Peru, so Peru can't do anything, you know, it has no power. But if a country, let's say like the United States, it's a powerful country, they can do something. Shouldn't they do something if we're watching civilians being
So I will say something about this.
Let me just finish. What happened in Syria, you know, when they started bombarding with gas, and Donald Trump, to mention Donald Trump again, he sent missiles to them. He hit them, so they stopped with the deadly gas and all that. Just not going all the way to a third world war, but you know, just to keep them in check. Should we do something?
So let me say something, and I think that it's reminding me other times of my life that I was in charge of, you know,
certain
teenagers.
Things escalate. Yeah.
Yes. First of all, I think that we as people, we have a lot of what to do. First of all, we can pray. Okay, prayer is also helping. You know, let's say this first thing. Second thing, we can discuss it with people, and we can share with them the Brit Shalom book and the Brit Olam book, and to show them. And it's also today it's downloadable. You can download it, you know, and it's very easy. And to give it to people, it's working great.
Sure, I've been passing out that new link that you gave. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the first thing that we can do as people, and then we can feel that we're bringing to the world a better, we're bringing the world to a better shape. I think that the situation here is much more complicated than it was in Russia, in the Syria area, okay? Because in Syria, they had a very short arsenal of gas, not really gas, some sort of gas, things like that. The Russia have already the nuclear bombs.
Oh yeah, massive.
And one
nuclear.
of the things that you don't want to do, you need to realize the nationality of Russia is being demolished from the United States in the last 30 years.
Totally.
I don't know if you've heard about this. The nationality
No, the Americans
of Russia,
are all innocent in their own minds.
of course. The nationality of Russia is being demolished in the last 30 years by the American government and people. They were not talking with them. They were talking with them from up here, You are down here, and I'm
speaking
up here.
down.
And they do have some sort of dignity with themselves. They are really demolished for the last 30 years. It's not a mistake that Putin is saying, prepare the nuclear bomb, that everything will be aside here. Let's try. Don't try to mess with me. And you know what? Even now, one of the things that the European people said in NATO, that they're going to give Ukraine few airplanes that they will manage to bomb the Russians. You know what Russian answered? They said, if a country like Romania or whatever it is, okay, German, whatever it is, that is going to send airplanes that will attack us, we will attack those countries back. We need to realize that, a war, it's like a fire. You know how you're starting it, you don't know how it will end. But there are two stories here. It's not one story. Now, I'm not saying, again, I said it in the beginning, don't misunderstand me. I'm not for this war, and I think that it's ugly that we have this war, and I think that it's not good that civilian people are, getting
dying,
demolished, getting bombed, and everything else. And I think that the Russian is doing here a big mistake, in their behavior. On the other side, you need to realize that there are two sides here, not one side, two sides. In the last 8 years, the Ukrainian people killed those two parts of Ukraine, Donetsk, and I don't remember the second side, okay, that feeling all the time that they are Russia side, and they killed them in the way that, believe me, they know how to be cruel one with each other. They killed.
Yeah, they were pretty rough on the Jewish people during World War II as well.
We also remember that, fair enough. But you know what? Maybe they did repentance when they're putting a Jewish person to be the president. Who knows? Okay, so they did some sort of a repentance with this. But the story it's much more complicated. It's much more hard, the story there. And we as people, we can't now go and say for ourselves, okay, fair enough. We have nothing to do. We can pray, we can work, we can bring the world to a better world, we can do good things in our places and everything else. Maybe we can even send money to help with the refugees, fine. We can do, how do you say it, to stand in front of the Russian embassy and to protest against the behavior. Fair enough, don't kill. Those are things that we can do. But let's not forget, okay, the story here is much more complicated. It's not one-sided. And I'm not for this war. I'm not at all. I tried just to explain a bit in a bit more wider way what is happening.
Speak the truth. That's it. Just the truth. And nobody likes the truth, right?
I don't think we should be bullied by Putin. If he says, I have nuclear weapons, then everybody, you can do whatever you want. It's everybody's got nuclear weapons. So it's not enough to. I don't want to escalate, but you shouldn't let yourself be pushed around. Let's say there's a room, everybody has got a gun in the room, and somebody's raping a woman just because I got a gun. You can't do anything. No, everybody's got a gun, but he's still raping that woman. You should do something. You should stop it.
Now, again, I'm not saying not to do things. I'm saying to do things in a wise
Yeah,
way.
but the responsibility shouldn't fall onto one nation alone.
No, I understand. I'm saying any nation that is capable of doing something, and any other nation that it's doing war crimes, and it could be any nation, it's doing something wrong. We should step up. Somebody should step up to stop them, or United Nations should stop those crimes. No, I'm just saying that.
I'm not saying, of course, we must do our best. Now, you don't have, now I'll ask you, Italo, do you have the influence on the American nation? Do you want to, it's being recorded, right? Everybody can see that. Can you speak with a person there in the White House that is getting a sleepy person? But sleeping all the time. The truth is, what do you want us to do, We can pray, we can learn, we can speak with people, we can teach, we can do good things to our neighbors. Those are the things that we need to do.
Behind the scenes.
No, it's just that to be clear, to be clear in what's the right thing, just what is supposed to be right and what is not supposed to be right. Not to
Hashem knows.
Yeah, but the corruption and the arrogance of our leaders in this nation, there is just nothing that can be done because they have the control, they have the power right now. And
that's it. The leaders that we have,
they're very arrogant and very corrupt, and it's all about them.
And very weak also.
Well, that pays in the ratings for sure. Plays into the ratings.
Fine. I'm sorry, I need to finish for tonight. We're going to
Rabbi, on YouTube, you've got lots of happy birthdays sent out. Many people wish.
God bless you all back.
May you get younger every year, Rabbi, and continue on.
Have a full 120. Yes.
I'm working on it. Thank you, Travis.
and happy birthday. So.
Thank you very much. I have the secret how you're getting young every year. I won't teach you all the secrets. Fair enough.
All right. Okay. So, Rabbi, are we on for next week?
Yes, next week we're going to continue with the Genesis. Woohoo!
22, 23. We're still on finishing 22 up, right?
We need to finish 22. Yes.
Okay. So next week, folks, we'll be back with our Genesis
at the normal time, 8:00.
Okay. So yes, we were an hour late today because you had a meeting with Rabbi Shirky, right? You were saying.
We had a meeting with Rabbi Shirky and other people. Good to see you. Yeah, we had a meeting with a lot of people. Yes, thank God.
Excellent.
Everything is fine.
Okay, so we're going to sign out for now, folks, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. We do have another strategic alignment broadcast in just a couple of hours with Rabbi Chaim Goldberg. It's going to be exciting. You're all invited to come back to the social media channels and check that out. That'll be at 2 p.m. Pacific, my time, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. for those in Texas that'll be joining. So hopefully you guys will check that out. So we will be back next week with Genesis class continuing in the book of Genesis, and we wish everybody a great week. Bye for now.
Shavuot, everybody. Thank you very much.